Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Today we are talking some Rashod Bateman and how he's having his best season ever already. Lamar Jackson says he has 2 wide receiver ones. Derrick Henry also responds to Khalil Mack. And we dive into the details about how and why the Ravens in the Lamar Jackson era are 23-1 against NFC opponents. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I wasn't going to make a video today. I didn't know how many people would even be on YouTube on Thanksgiving. A lot of people are probably with their family and friends, but I've had a lot of Thanksgivings where I wasn't with my family and friends and wasn't doing much at all, so having a YouTube video about the team I love would have actually entertained me, so that was on my mind, and I was like, let's talk some ball, man. So let's show some love to Rashod Bateman, man. He is having the season that we all dreamed of. This is the healthy Rashod Bateman, and he's doing things that we always knew he could do, but he just wasn't available for so many years, and now he's finally available and he's balling. He already has 574 receiving yards, which is more than he's had in any other season, and he already has 5 passing touchdowns this season, which is more than he's had in all of his seasons combined. We knew we had a wide receiver one coming into this season with Zay Flowers. He had an incredible rookie season, and Zay Flowers has carried that over into this season. He's top 5 in receiving yards in the NFL. He's got 789 receiving yards right now, 4 touchdowns. And with that success this season, he is drawing more attention from opposing defenses, which leaves Bateman in a lot of one-on-one matchups, and he's winning these, man. Lamar is trusting him. You saw that in the Chargers game. He gave Bateman multiple chances in that game. He threw to Bateman earlier that wasn't caught in the end zone in a similar situation and then went right back to him. Lamar clearly trusts Bateman. He also called him his wide receiver one at his presser.
I look at him as a receiver one. I don't care what nobody else think. I know what I believe in, I know what he believe in. So he know I'm always on him, though. I'm gonna always be on him. All my receivers, I'm on all of them. Tight ends too. That's just what it is here. We're trying to win.
It's just amazing to see a healthy Rashod Bateman out there on the field week in and week out, building chemistry with Lamar. I'm so glad that Eric DaCosta got that extension. That extension is an absolute steal. He's making like $6 million a year for the next few years. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. He's an extremely talented receiver, and the Ravens are very blessed to have him on that contract locked up for the next few seasons. I think that Bateman is just getting started. This is really the start of his career, man. It was such a bumpy road there for a few years, but he's got it back together, and his talent is shining on the highest level. So let's keep it rolling. Shout out to Rashod Bateman. Moving on to Derrick Henry responding to Khalil Mack. So I haven't talked much about this, but after the game, they interviewed Khalil Mack, and he said, I don't think it's hard to play against that guy, talking about Derrick Henry. And hopefully we see this team again. That's all. Now, Derrick Henry was asked about this today. He didn't have much to say, but this is what he had to say.
Khalil Mack kind of had some things to say about wanting to meet up against you.
It don't matter. We won.
If you didn't catch it, all he said was that don't matter, we won. And I think that's the perfect response. Obviously, this isn't a huge deal by any means, but was kind of caught off guard by Khalil Mack's comments in the first place. Like, it's not easy to play Derrick Henry. I don't think that you know or can easily execute a way to stop him. I understand that you're definitely pissed off after a loss. You can't wait to see him again. Every team's going to feel like that after they lose to a team. They just want a rematch. They just want to go back at it. So I totally understand those emotions. But let's not act like it is easy to go against Derrick Henry. I mean, no team thinks that. Khalil Mack doesn't think that. I don't know why he said it's not hard to defend him. It's not hard to go against Derrick Henry. Yeah, it is. It clearly was. We ran for over 200 yards on a Chargers defense that, was allegedly top in the league and has not let up 30 points and blah, 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 blah. Facing a Ravens offense this dynamic, this talented with a running back like Derrick Henry, you saw what happened. And I really think it makes sense to extend Derrick Henry as well. We do have the rights to him next year. His contract is structured where it's not really guaranteed, so we always kind of had an out. But with how well he's playing, I mean, his cap hit's like $10 million next year. I could easily see us extending him another year and just spreading that $10 million out. I'd be shocked if we just released him and moved on. I don't think that that's a smart move. Derrick Henry's definitely got at least one more year in him, and I'd be even down with paying the $10 million cap hit. I just think that they might want to lower it, and an extension and a future release after next year might make a little bit more sense. But either way, I'd be kind of pissed if Derrick Henry's not on the Ravens next year. He is on a 2-year deal. That $10 million cap hit is high, but not insane. Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are leaps and bounds above any other running back in the league right now. And I just feel like keeping a guy like Derrick Henry on the roster is crucial. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the Lamar Jackson 23-1 record versus NFC opponents. That is a mind-boggling stat, to be honest. I mean, he has absolutely dominated the NFC, and I don't want to just say him. It's not just Lamar. It's the entire Ravens team. Football's a team sport. It's never just one player. If it was all on Lamar all the time, we probably would have had a Super Bowl at this point, but it's a team game. Coaches are involved, lines involved, defense is involved. There's just so many other factors. And I think the Ravens have so much success against the NFC for two reasons. The one that Lamar pointed out in his presser is the more obvious one, and I feel like that is that they don't see Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense very often. So when they do, it's just harder to defend because they're not used to taking those types of angles. They're not used to maybe playing as disciplined as they need to play. Lamar Jackson is tough to get down in the pocket. This guy is elusive. He is quicker than you ever would think so. So when you think you got an angle on him, especially in the pocket, he's usually going to get out of it. He's not taking that many sacks this year. And trust me, it's not because the O-line is incredible. I'm not saying the O-line's bad, but Lamar Jackson gets out of a ton of sacks that other quarterbacks couldn't get out of. So when you got a guy like that constantly buying time, he's also a threat to run, literally one of the most dynamic runners in the entire NFL, matched with a physical team on offense and defense. The Ravens like to play physical. They like to bring the fight to the other teams. And then sometimes when the fight gets brought back at the same level, the Ravens don't hit back or don't respond quite as well. So we see that with Pittsburgh and Cleveland because they're built like that. They're built these mentally tough teams, physical defenses, really talented defenses, and they know how to play the Ravens, So we find our offense struggling more often against Pittsburgh and Cleveland, but when we see an NFC opponent, they just don't play the same style as the AFC North. And we're about to see a tough NFC opponent this Sunday. The Eagles are playing as good as football as anybody on both sides of the ball. It's definitely not an easy matchup at all. And even though the Eagles defense is playing great, I would be shocked if they shut down the Ravens offense. They just haven't played an offense like this, and NFC teams don't play with the same physicality as teams in the AFC North. We see it all the time. And that doesn't mean the Eagles have no chance on Sunday. I definitely expect a tight game. I'm just saying it's going to be a different matchup for them than any other team that they've played. And I think that is why consistently the physicality and the fact that they're not used to playing a guy like Lamar Jackson always gives the NFC teams trouble. But that's it for today, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you. If you are spending some time with me today, hopefully you get some time with your friends and family and just have a beautiful day. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The flock rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.